welcome to Best Fictional Friends, a podcast about fictional characters but real feelings.
I'm your best friend, Sarah, that friend that will scoop out all the extra pumpkin seed guts so you can get straight to carving your pumpkin.
I'm your best friend who will never attend Halloween Horror Nights with you, Casey.
I'm Brittany Weisler, your best friend who will check under your bed and your closet before turning on the Ninja Turtles nightlight and tucking you in to make sure you have sweet, sweet dreams.
Aww.
I'm your best friend. Of course I'm going to do those things for you.
This I guess.
I'll do anything for you, baby doll.
Look at me. I won twice.
I told you, it's going to my head. I'm never coming down from this high.
Oh, no.
Today,
you're coming down from this high today.
Today, our topic is best monster friend. Monsterparty. Ay, 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 ay. Fun German song that nobody knows except me.
And I assume people from Germany.
I don't know. I don't even know if it's a popular German song. So we're here for the Monster Party.
Yes, we are here for the Monster Party.
Monster Mash, if you will.
Exactly. So our definition of monsters is a person or being who has powers of destruction that threaten the human world's social or moral order. They can be frightening, but they don't have to be necessarily, I guess. This one is quite open-ended, so I think we can kind of just go straight into the traits we're looking for. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I hope so.
All right.
Yeah, I'm thinking a little scary, as you said. We want some, it's a monster, but we don't want it to be too scary, to where you don't feel like you can be friends with said monster.
That would be a pretty bad friend if you couldn't be friends with them, so.
Yeah.
We've done our job badly.
Little scary, not too scary. I think somewhere in that realm.
Right.
Yeah, really open-ended, but just maybe something about the type of monster that makes them interesting. Because, it's still a, fantastical type of being. So you still want, some intrigue there. Does anybody have any traits they'd like to add?
I want it to just be, a great hang, obviously. Kind of the same thing where you don't want them to be too scary. Because obviously, you wouldn't want to be friends with them. But I want them to be, a great hang, be able to have, actual conversations with me. That's not a pointed statement at either of your picks. Can be scary and intimidating if they want to be. Okay. For me, the indestructible nature that comes along with certain types of monsters is appealing. I would like them to have good intentions. Angel could be scary as hell.
Oh, from Buffy.
Yeah, from Buffy. But he has good intentions. So, he would fall under, that kind of category. But I don't think Buffy version of Angel would be a good hang. Angel version of Angel might be a good hang, though.
Angel gets a little more loose when he's not worried that the love of his life is constantly on the verge of dying.
Yeah,
he's kind of out of sight, out of mind kind of person. While you guys say you want some scary, I don't want scary. There's a lot of scary monsters. I want a cool hanging monster. I
don't want them to scare me. I want them to be scary for me or for others.
Yes. Part of the definition is they have to have supernatural power. They have to be able to have monstrous power. We've already established that they have to be able to destroy things. I'm fine with that. I just also don't want you to be scary while you do it. Or at least, like you said, don't be scary to me. I don't need
be scary for me.
I don't know if either of you have seen Death Note. I don't need a demon of death to be hanging around me all the time. I kind of I'd really rather just someone cool. I want them to use their unique traits to mine and their advantage. Why be a monster if there's no real perks to it?
Right.
I feel I want some sort of perks. I want some sort of monstrous advantage. And I either want them to be able to hide well or to integrate with society. I need one or the other. I don't want to constantly be in an X-Files episode where we're just on the run all the time. That's not for me. I got shit going on in my life, man.
That's a good point.
How are we supposed to go to a restaurant if you are constantly on the run? Or if, I'm sorry, some guy took blurry pictures of me in the woods. I gotta lay low for a while. I guess. But I got a reservation at 7, so...
So your champion isn't Sasquatch?
Well, if we want to roll into our contenders, I'm ready to, get to this.
Let's do it.
Harry and the Hendersons. He is Bigfoot. I felt like he's a contender in that he's good-natured. I really like what you got Casey was saying about how you want someone who's good at heart.
Mm-hmm.
Whether monsters sometimes are destructive or whatever, you want to know that deep down they are good people. I don't want to have to be like, well, there is a lot of bloodlust going on, but he makes a mean casserole. Like, I don't want that kind of relationship. If we're going to just say best monster friend, I feel like the person's got to be ultimately good. Like an ultimately good person. Mm-hmm. Bigfoot, Harry and the Hendersons, he's fine. He's cool. He's not my champion. He's a good monster.
All right.
My first two, I don't know if they count as monsters. Michael from The Good Place, obviously towards the end of that series. And I would love a Dark Material style demon, though not a creepy murdery one. But I'm not sure if that counts as a monster per se.
Well, in the Dark Materials, they're actually a part of your soul. Like they're the human, they're a physical embodiment.
Well, then they are
soul.
The monstrous side of my soul, I guess is what we're going to say.
They're the animalistic side, right?
So you're just trying to be friends with yourself? With the monster side of yourself? You're just trying to accept that as part of you?
I want to be better friends with myself. Thank you, Sarah.
I feel like this podcast is just like Casey, like, loving herself.
Casey has learned to be her own best friend.
We learned so much about Casey through these episodes.
Maybe the real best friend is the friend inside ourselves all along. It's the friends we made along the way. Maybe that's the real treasure.
The seventh Horcrux is love, guys. It's love. It's in love the whole damn time.
We can't get through one goddamn episode without a Harry Potter reference, can we?
No.
No, will always be on the potential spoilers list.
Also, Drogon from Game of Thrones or a direwolf.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's smart.
I want to be able to have a conversation, and I know in the books that the Stark kids can have more like a mental conversation, kind of like Bran does in the show with the direwolves. Right. Yeah, I'd want to have more conversation. Drogon and Khaleesi's like connection is a little bit unexplained, but they seem to have like a good conversation going in their brains. Caroline Forbes in Vampire Diaries, post-transformation, not pre-transformation. Pre-transformation, she is the absolute fucking worst. Post-transformation, I would definitely be her pal.
Does she become I'm assuming a vampire?
A vampire, yes.
A vampire.
Yes, she does. And she becomes a much better version of herself. She doesn't care as much about like frivolous things, and which, I mean, she does at some points care about like what she wears and who she's dating, like all of that stuff. And she has a lot of insecurities still as a vampire, but she is a much stronger individual, both physically, obviously, and emotionally. And she just seems to oddly have more compassion because yeah, in Vampire Diaries, unlike the Buffyverse, you do not lose your soul when you become a vampire. You're able to turn on and off your compassion. It's a very blurry line.
So I like kind of like in True Blood, where they two vampires, where it's more that when you just live forever, petty things like emotion just don't have the same weight.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are so fleeting that humans will worry about, because when you only have 80 years to worry about it, yeah, that's a huge deal. When you have 1,000 years to worry about it, maybe it doesn't matter.
Right.
Well, I think his name was Godric on True Blood, where they talk about he's older than Jesus, and he talks about how I was very upset I never got to meet him. All right, Sarah, throw some in there. We need more from you.
Gotta pull from Pixar.
I knew.
Also, Monsters, Inc. We can't not. Mike and Sully. I feel like both of them, there's like an argument to make for either. I think that I like Sully better just because he's more fun.
And snuggly.
But Mike's more responsible.
See, I thought Mike is just much more supportive.
Also, Groot from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's a good
I
one,
could not believe I didn't think about it earlier, and then like it hit me this past weekend, and I was like, oh my gosh, Groot.
Yeah. So I know I've already talked about Adventure Time on a previous one of these, but Marceline, the Vampire Queen, she is super chill. She's in a band. She's been around since before the Mushroom War, so she's been around since our day and age. She is half demon, half human. So her mom fell in love with a demon. And then when she was around like 20 or something, she got bit by a vampire and then became a vampire and now lives forever. But she just likes pulling pranks on people, pretty much, is like her whole thing. She's in a band, she likes playing pranks, she just wants to hang out. She, spoilers for that, she's mad in love with Princess Bubblegum, and they have a weird on-again, off-again thing constantly, but she's got great fashion sense. I just want to like raid her closet all the time. I was also thinking Sesame Street, Cookie Monster would be a ballin' friend.
Oh, good
Cookie
one.
Monster, he knows where all the cookies are. He doesn't only eat cookies anymore. He also eats vegetables and stuff. He just knows how to moderate. Cookies are just his favorite. Him or Elmo is cool. Elmo's a little too young for me. I liked Grover. I
loved Grover.
Oh, love Grover.
Grover and Cookie Monster are pretty ballin'. I feel like they'd be great friends in a very various amount of places, but they don't really have powers. They don't really have like monstrous abilities other than being cute and fuzzy. So not my pick. I don't know. Did either of you ever watch Homestar Runner?
Oh my gosh.
So in high school, me and my friends dressed up as the Teen Girl Squad.
Oh my gosh.
For a homecoming week, they had Superhero Day, and since there's squad in the title, we dressed up as the Teen Girl Squad, and I was What's-Her-Face. But the cheat is this little yellow, like,
oh yeah,
guy. He can make you a trophy full of steakums. He can give you, he makes great music videos all the time. I love all of the Cheat's music videos. They're really great. And he'll help you cheat in sports. I mean, what else do you want?
Oh, yeah, the perfect mix of treats.
Right. Yeah, I have a few more. I think any of the Digimon would have been great, too. They're all literally digital companions that have, like, they're all monsters, obviously looking. They can evolve and attack your enemies for you. Their whole bag is that they're your friend and that they grow and get more powerful based off of their love for you and your love for them. So I feel like that makes Digimon all great friends. Like, you get more powerful by how strong our bond is. We can't, like, you won't be more powerful unless we're great friends. So of course we'll be great friends, obviously.
Curtis and I got Digimon, like the little things for quarantine, and I unfortunately several of mine have died. So I kind of gave up.
You got the Digimons. Do you mean like a Tamagotchi Digimon?
Yeah, but because Digimon did it too. It was like the boy version of Tamagotchi from the same company. So, which I had only ever had a Tamagotchi, so this is my experience having.
See, I was a Giga Pet. I went way off brand.
I think I had a Tamagotchi.
I didn't have a Tamagotchi. I went off brand and got the Giga
I got a Tamagotchi real late. Like real late in the game. Like I bought it for myself.
We had a Jurassic Park one too. It was like, make this baby T-Rex for some reason. Like, I don't really, like, won't that kill me? I did see Jurassic Park. It did not fare well for most of those people, but whatever. In the Fallout series, it's post-apocalyptic world, a lot of mutated people. Hancock in Fallout 4, he's not a super mutant. He's a ghoul. So that they look like people, but all their flesh is melted off and burnt. So they look really horrifying, but Hancock's really cool. I thought Lily Bowen in New Vegas is really nice. She's an old grandmother that during kind of apocalyptic time, she was taken from her home in a secret vault and then given the serum to turn her into a monster. But she was an old grandmother, so she's like 70. And when you talk to her, because of the serum they've given her, she has a split personality that wants her to like murder and kill things. And there's a treatment to stop the split personality from happening, but when she takes it, she forgets her past because she's hundreds of years old at this point. And so she's like, but I don't want to forget my grandchildren. That's the most important thing to me. So I don't take it. So I do still have the split personality that makes me want to murder things, but I don't do it because I want to remember my 2 grandchildren that I love very much. And I just think that's sweet. Yeah, you murder sometimes.
You're a little scary.
But we're in the wasteland, so I need that. Like, no one's hugging you in the wasteland. They're all trying to shoot you and eat your flesh or something. So
speaking of video games, Brittany, do you want to go with your champion?
Oh yeah, champions now, baby. All right. So, I went for what I think is obviously the best friend, which is Pikachu from Pokemon. Pokemon literally means pocket monsters, so fits perfectly with this category. Is it portmanteau, where you just smash words together?
Wait,
to me,
what?
Make a thing. So
portmanteau?
Portmanteau. I don't know what I'm saying. Words are hard, man.
I just trust you normally when it comes to like how to say things and what words mean, and that
I'm a copywriter.
Honestly,
that
you either could have said either of those things, and I would have been like, correct. So I have no idea.
I don't know if this is considered that, because I guess in like Japan, English just sounds cool, like how we get Asian characters tattooed on your body because we think that just looks cool. I guess English just sounds cool, so they do English words randomly. So pocket monsters, it becomes Pokemon. So Pikachu is a species of creature known as a pocket monster or Pokemon in this universe, which humans known as Pokemon trainers catch, befriend, train, study, and use to compete and battle each other. Pikachu is a little yellow mouse-like Pokemon. They generate electricity in the pouches in their cheeks. They're like little red circles, so they're super cute. You can't tell, but I was pinching my own cheeks for reference.
It was very cute.
But so they have electricity in their cheeks that they can use to attack and defend themselves. In the show Pokemon and in the millions of shows and movies or whatever, but Pikachu is the star of the animated series, which started airing in 1997. Pikachu is the first Pokemon of the show's human protagonist, Ash Ketchum, which in Japanese he has a different name. I think it's Satoshi, named after the creator of Pokemon, I think. Don't quote me on that. Someone will. So while Ash and Pikachu started off on really rocky footing, over time, Ash and Pikachu are the definition, I feel like, of best friends. They are united in their goal of being the best Pokemon and trainer in the world, and they've gone to outrageous lengths to help each other and protect each other time and time and time and time and time and time again, because it's been like 2 decades later and over 1,000 episodes and who knows how many goddamn movies, but they are constantly fighting with each other, for each other. Like, they're just best friend definition, in my opinion. We want to say for something like Myers-Briggs, I guess ENFJ, as verywellmind.com says, ENFJ are people persons. They are capable of forging friendships with all personality types, even with more introverted individuals. They have strong value system and desire to help other people be the best that they can be. Hence, I want to be the very best, the best there ever was. Pokemon. Gotta catch them all.
Pikachu!
Pika Pikachu! Pika! Pee 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 Pikachu! Ta! Pika Pikachu!
It's so brave. So tell us what Pikachu's saying.
Pikachu won't change. If it's going to Pika Raichu, it wants to do it just as it is.
If Pikachu went to Hogwarts, I think he would be Gryffindor.
I just started really thinking about all of our picks at Hogwarts.
I would watch all of our picks ever at Hogwarts, but that would be a wild school.
I'm sorry, is Hogwarts not a wild school already?
Oh, yeah, take something that's already like a 9 on the scale, and now we're bringing it to 11. Like, where we're setting it to 11 because 11 is higher than 10. So.
Thank you for pointing that out.
But I think Pikachu has to be a Gryffindor. Pikachu's really brave, especially. Like, he'll defend himself. He'll defend other people. He's a tiny little mouse Pokemon, but he still will stand up to Team Rocket. He'll fight. the dragon type Pokemon that are huge because he wants to be the best. He's going to be the best, and him and Ash are going to be the best Pokemon and Pokemon trainer that the world has ever seen. So definitely think bravery is probably their... I mean, honestly, they're both very headstrong, and that might be why they're Gryffindor too, but I love it because they're both in it together. D&D alignment, if we're going to say for that, gotta be neutral good. Pikachu's definitely good, but Pikachu doesn't always play by the rules. Traits that make him a great best friend. I think he's super fun. He's cute. He's cuddly. I want that in a monstrous friend. I want cute and cuddly. I don't want somebody that's gonna make me like piss myself if I wake up in the dark and they're standing next to me. I don't want that. That's horrifying. I don't want the Grudge next to me, is what I'm saying.
I don't think anybody does.
Darn, that was my pick.
I know. But that's where it could go for monstrous. Like we could go red eyes, scary, in the dark, trying to eat your flesh. Wink, wink. Somebody else's pick.
She doesn't try to eat anybody else's flesh. I will get into that.
It's like, wait, mine? I was like trying to think.
That might be a good time to actually tell people who your pick is to find out how confusing that actually was for all of us. For you to think that this would have been a reference to your pick.
Because my pick was Totoro from My Neighbor Totoro. Yeah. I love him so much. Totoro is this spirit creature, very large, lives in the forest. Is referred to on some wiki pages, although not in the movie itself, as the master of the forest. But is from a movie that centers around like two young girls who live with their dad and their mom, but their mom is currently in the hospital. And so they're like just moving into a new home, and they live like right next to this forest, and they meet this forest spirit, Totoro, who's like this giant, gray, fuzzy, adorable monster spirit thing. So he kind of like helps them out through the movie. He gets to like show himself when he kind of feels like it. He doesn't like, he's not always visible, and it's basically when he feels comfortable with people, he'll like show himself. And it more often happens with children, but it can happen with adults.
Do any of the adults see him?
I thought the dad did at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, I didn't think so. The grandma, I thought, said she saw him.
When she was a kid.
Well, I assumed that he would never stop showing himself to the two little girls. So I'll just assume that I've been friends with Totoro from childhood. Okay. And so we're just like...
But the grandmother was friends with him in childhood and can no longer see him.
Well, they clearly weren't good enough friends. It would be different for us. I'm sure of it.
Okay.
He also has a bit of a green thumb. He loves acorns and can just grow plants like it's nothing. He has a spinning top that allows him to fly, and he can play an instrument. I don't know what the instrument is. I think it might be an ocarina. As far as like Myers-Briggs, I was thinking ISFJ or ISFP, which is like known as like the counselor, and then ISFP is known as the healer. But I gravitated towards those just because they were more like sensitive, caring, kind of like big, lovable, types of Myers-Briggs. For Hogwarts, I really struggled with this because I think that like throughout the movie, it's tough to get to know him because he doesn't like speak really. He kind of says his name at one point.
Does he?
I don't know how May got Totoro from the noises that he was making.
Totoro? Is that what your name is? Totoro?
I wikied it. It's that that it sounds in Japanese like whatever the word for troll is, and that she's just mispronouncing troll.
Oh. That's
okay.
adorable.
That's...
But, I mean, he seems to accept it, though. He's like, yeah, you got it. You figured it out.
What do you mean?
Exactly, Totoro. Yes. But because of the whole plant situation, I went with Hufflepuff because he kind of gave me the Professor Sprout vibes. And she's the house head, the head of the Hufflepuff house. Yeah. So I went Hufflepuff. D&D alignment, neutral good. Didn't really give me a reason to think that he was like chaotic good or lawful good, but he's definitely good. Helps them out when they need it. Calls on the cat bus, which is a bus that looks like a cat. Obviously. And then
it's like a cat that happens to be a bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's more closer to, it's a cat first that is also a bus.
Definitely cat first. I like how, like, Satsuki is just like, yeah, this is fine. Like, I'll just get in this cat bus. I would be like, oh, I have a few questions. And then for astrology, obviously no idea when his birthday is or if he has one, considering he's a spirit.
Oh yeah, I skipped that too for Pikachu.
But I picked Pisces mostly because the like chart that I looked at called it the dreamer and like had things like otherworldly and stuff, and I was like, yeah, okay, close enough.
Sure.
Fine.
I don't know anything about astrology, but like Pisces.
Throwing shit at a wall.
The fish.
Yeah. Traits that make a best friend. I feel like I already covered this.
Yeah.
But one that I didn't say was super cuddly. He's also very, very cuddly, great for nap time.
That landing May takes on his belly was super adorable.
Yeah. I like that she's like, here's this giant monster. I'm tired now. I'll just
I'm gonna sleep
here.
He's sleeping too. It's only right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be rude to just stare at him the whole time.
We've already established it's really creepy if people watch you eat, watch you sleep. No one wants that. Right. Just do it with me. Just eat with me. Just sleep. Like, let's do the human things. Let's go through the motions at the very least, please.
Speaking of humans, I have one of the worst monsters of them all, a human. Not really. She's actually a zombie. Dr. Olivia Moore, a.k.a. Liv Moore. She is from iZombie. Oh, yeah. This show has so many wonderful pun names. They have a store called Meat Cute. That's a butcher in the first season. It is fantastic. So she's just a true badass.
I got mad and suddenly I was 99% zombie, like 28 days later style with a side of rage bomb. I was a dead alabaster badass.
I'm performing open heart surgery on you without anesthesia. You're beyond badass. Just think about what you did tonight. You saved 2 women's lives, you got justice for another, and you got a very bad man off the streets. And as God is my witness, you'll never be hungry again.
I feel confident in saying that while the show would have been much different had she never turned into a zombie, like I would have still wanted to be her friend prior to her getting scratched kind of thing, based on flashbacks that they do. But she was turned into a zombie after med school and leaves her cardiac residency to become a medical examiner because she could get brains without having to do anything too gross, like eat somebody's live flesh, Brittany. Turns out that she gets the personality traits and memories from the person that she, whose brain she consumes. And then she basically becomes a superhero solving murders right and left. Towards the end of the series, they introduce brain tubes. So she doesn't have to. This was like my caveat with picking her because I was really concerned about like her personality swings and stuff. But with the brain tubes, she becomes herself. She just is her personality. She's very level. She doesn't have the same emotional swings. She doesn't have the flashbacks. So she has that option to just be a bland zombie. I really enjoy
calling a friend bland is a great way to start for this.
A bland zombie. Okay. I went with bland. Okay. So she has of just becoming herself, not a bland person, but I went with bland.
Her friend, yeah.
Yeah.
Herself, bland.
Okay. I went with bland.
Already in debate mode. I love it.
I went with bland. Let me correct this. I went with bland because when she cooks her brains from the medical examiner office, She makes them very fancy and does a whole rigmarole with them, but the brain tubes are said to be bland. So that's why bland was in my head, not because she becomes bland, just because she eats something bland. I stand by this 100%. I'm not going to be cowed by you, Brittany. But no, so she eats her brain tubes and she just becomes herself. She's just very sweet. She doesn't have the same like mood swings, like I said. Myers-Briggs, interestingly, according to some random website that collates this stuff, she would be an ISFJ, which I found was the defender, which makes a lot of sense for her. It says somebody who's introverted, observant, feeling, judging personality traits. These people tend to be warm, unassuming, and steady in their own way. And major spoiler, but Liv basically becomes a runner of like an underground railroad to save people who are on the brink of death by turning them into a zombie. And
I have a lot of questions about iZombie once we're done with this too.
Seriously.
You Casey gave us like 2 episodes to give us like, this is good episodes to figure out Liv as a great friend. And they are... the first one has no conclusion that I am mad about. Like, I do not know why this person died. It is like, that is left on a cliffhanger for me. And then I went to another season.
Well, you could have watched the next episode.
No, I know.
No, the thing is, this show is also so incredibly good. And like the arc that they take her on and the arc that they take all the characters on is just so amazing that it was very difficult to give you guys 2 episodes that would like wrap her up. So I tried to give you one to see who she was at the beginning and then to see her kind of evolution into Renegade and into this person who was out as a zombie and trying to save lives actively. But really, because of the way it was done by Rob Thomas. The showrunner was Rob Thomas, who also did Veronica Mars. And he is just like, the way that this, like, all the seasons are done, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Highly recommend watching this show.
I love Veronica Mars.
Right.
And Party Down. That's him too, right?
Mm-hmm. And like...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we could talk about this, the comparisons to like the final season of Veronica Mars and iZombie at a later date, but it was...
We will.
And we will.
I'm still working my way through Veronica Mars, so...
Yeah. If she were to go to... Hogwarts, she would be a Ravenclaw pre-Scratch, but after the Scratch, she would be a Gryffindor, which makes sense because she becomes very difficult to kill, you know, being dead and all as a zombie. D&D alignment from flashbacks to her pre-zombie life, she would have been a lawful good. She was a super studious person, definitely a lawful good. As a zombie, she's definitely chaotic good. She is always good and not evil, but given that she does have like this clairvoyant quote-unquote aspect to her, there is a level of chaos because when she is trying to solve crimes and she takes on the personality, like she becomes an agoraphobic in one episode. An agoraphobic gamer. It's an excellent episode. They're all so good.
How long does it last in her system?
It's basically like 48 hours, I think. They never like dive too deeply into it, but she feels it wearing off and then she's regaining some of her own self, but she could like then eat more of it or just go on to another one, especially before the brain tubes. Astrologically, I guess, she's a Scorpio. It fits as far as like the astrology woo-woo fits things. She's a bit mysterious and can be driven by emotions, but that also could be the whole zombie factor, more so than the astrology of the character. I'm addressing what Brittany's point is going to be before she even makes it. When she goes into zombie mode and she gets the red eyes and she becomes a little intimidating, she is still able to not attack her friends.
That's good. Because I was worried about that.
That was an argument I had.
Oh, I thought of all of these. I am here to win this one.
Okay, the problem is I'm also here to win this one.
Okay, girl, yours can't even talk and is in like a tenth of the movie. I don't know who he is.
I love him.
I adore him as a character.
Cuddly.
He's so cuddly, but like if you want to say like this would be the best one to turn into a stuffed animal, I'd be so down for that. Or like the best like snuggler or pet.
Your best friend is your dog, so
That's what I was also for Pikachu. Like, if you guys, everyone loves a pet, what if your pet could literally talk to you?
But Pikachu can't.
Talks. No, he does. Like, Ash understands him.
Yeah.
Pokemon have their own language. It's just you have to, like...
really understand. Yeah.
But Ash does. So, like, if we're saying you're going to be the best friend of somebody in this situation, you're Ash, right? You do understand Pikachu and you know exactly what he's saying to you. I don't know if you guys, so I gave 3 episodes since they're only like 20 minutes long.
I finally understand how to play Pokemon from watching those 3 episodes. That's all I understand.
It's like where Han Solo can understand Chewbacca.
Right. No, I get that. But also with Liv, one thing that I appreciate about her is that it's not just like when you're friends with Liv, you're not just friends with Liv. You're friends with her whole group of friends, and they're all so welcoming and so awesome. And I would very much enjoy hanging out with all of them, not just iZombie. I know we're talking about monsters, but that was like definitely like a big perk, that like the whole ensemble. But yeah, she risks her life, such as it is, you know, she's dead and all, to help others. There's a major, major spoiler, but she literally gives away her chance at life of being a human to make it so people who love each other can be together. That couple that she helps get together ends up being together forever and having babies and just doing everything that they had dreamed of in life. And like Liv doesn't necessarily get that, but like she was ready to take the quote unquote cure, and then she saw what it would do for her friend more so than for her. And she just was willing to very much like give up that opportunity for another person. Cause like she could be a cardiac surgeon. She could save lives still. Like she could definitely still be a badass and still do a lot of good in the world as a human. So it's not like she would be giving up her one way of being useful.
Right.
But she chooses to remain a zombie because there's only one left and they don't know where the rest of the cures are or if they still exist. And she gives it up for this person.
Why didn't they reverse engineer it?
It's a whole thing. They needed a street drug that was no longer being made, and they could not find who made it originally. So they have the formula. They just don't have the tainted utopium. I am like super passionate about like Liv would be like the best monster friend, because she just, to me, it's like, oh yeah, that's everything I want in a friend. Plus, she could save you. And that seems pretty badass to me.
Can she?
She has super strength.
Did she get superhuman powers?
If she went like zombie mode?
Okay.
Yeah, she could go in zombie mode and get super strength. She would take a bullet for you because unless it's in her head, she could survive. So I mean, there's plenty, like she could get hit by cars. I just think like how much she's willing to sacrifice for strangers, let alone her friends, is a really beautiful trait to have. So also she speaks the same language as I do going into it. And yeah, she doesn't have lightning in her cheeks. I think Pokemon is really cute, but also he is stubborn as hell.
Also, the amount of times he electrocutes Ash.
Well,
is
but they do it playfully.
Show.
They do it playfully.
Yeah. But one time, too much electricity and you're dead.
Yeah, Pikachu's got this down to a science, man.
And like, maybe
Pikachu's
Ash
never killed anyone.
It's like not terrified of the feeling of being electrocuted at a certain point, but I am. That scares me.
Yeah.
See, yeah, I feel like having Team Rocket gets over it very quickly. I think they get electrocuted multiple times a week because for some reason they have they also know rightfully that Pikachu is the best. And needs to be captured at all costs, at the cost of literally everything else in their lives. They are 100% obsessed.
Team Rocket makes a lot of very questionable decisions. So isn't a decision they make to have to capture Pikachu just ultimately dumb because they made it?
So just because somebody is a dumb person, that means no decision they ever make in their life is a good decision. If anyone else ever does this decision, that's bad. All right.
I mean, they are like spending their entire time trying to get one Pokemon.
I still stand behind Liv fully. I think that my best friend is somebody that I want to be around. Not just that like they're like dependable to be around me. I want to know that like they'll be a good hang. I don't necessarily want to be stressing about how they're going to react to another Pokemon coming around, or whether or not I'm going to look like I'm talking to myself, because I'm talking to Totoro, but nobody else could see Totoro.
It seems like everybody's pretty accepting of really weird behavior in this world that...
I think that they happen to be in a very spiritual, like I think it's Shinto religion is kind of like they go to a shrine, they have like a sacred tree that Totoro lives in. They're all
also
at
a super
least
fun tree.
If not practitioners, they at least are very familiar with Shinto rituals and stuff. So I get that, but I also like I'm still hung up with that. I don't think when you grow up, Totoro shows himself to you.
I don't think so. I think that it is very much like I saw online that like it's only visible to children. So that is also my argument that you wouldn't be able to see Totoro like past 18 or whatever.
I don't even think it's like an age limit. I think it's like, so we had talked about his dark materials earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think when they hit puberty is when your demon starts forming a shape and can't transform anymore because you have sin on you, but at the same time it's you're forming into a human, you're forming into an adult with opinions and more formed personality. That's kind of how I thought for Totoro.
Yeah,
is that children are open to wonder and can see magic, but when you get older, you're not in touch with magic the same way that
it's
you
like
used
Bing
to be.
Bong.
Yeah. Totoro, I don't know if Totoro's imaginary. I just think he is like...
I don't necessarily think Totoro's
he's
imaginary.
Because he did, like, he does help Satsuki find Mei. Like, that's indisputable. That definitely happens. So, because he definitely has
corn
something
is
in the
on the
physical
mother's
world.
windows.
I
will say I was sobbing at the end of My Neighbor Totoro. The last time I saw it, I was much younger, and I watched it now as an adult very recently, and I was like, I need a moment. I need to collect myself. Oh my God. These poor children are so scared that their mom's gonna die because she's just been in this hospital with this undisclosed sickness for months. I have a new introduction. Mm-hmm. We put our friends in fictional scenarios and who comes out on top.
Okay, but who's gonna come up with a scenario?
We each come up with a scenario. Don't come up with like a friendship scenario, right? Okay. So what is so we can say for you just got dumped by a boy. Oh my God, I'm so heartbroken. What are your friends doing?
Liv is bringing me wine and watching really bad movies with me, which is exactly what I want her to be doing.
So your friend's a human, though. Your friend's just a human at that point.
That is definitely part of the appeal.
Good point.
But that's what I mean. Like,
but then it's like best
monster friend. Are they bringing in their monster traits to help you?
I mean, if my boyfriend deserves to be like scared by a zombie, sure. But I don't necessarily think that is. I was looking for a friend who could be a friend and like be there for me in a human way, in addition to like her monster capabilities, kind of like with Jake in Adventure Time.
Adventure Time, yeah.
Yeah. Like, even though he is very cartoonish and very much a dog, he still has very humanistic characteristics. And so with Liv, she is a zombie, which is definitively a monster, and she could become a full-blown monster. But she also has this humanity in her and the ability to understand human emotions because she was once human.
I think my problem with Liv is that I feel like I'd be best friends with her despite the fact that she's a zombie. Not like...
Because she's a zombie?
That would be assisting the fact that we're friends. And also, I didn't really like her before she was a zombie. I watched the pilot episode as well. So maybe there's like more flashbacks that give her more like backstory into like human life, but she seemed like she wouldn't have time for me. She seemed very headstrong, like into work, and like that's wonderful. But
you learn a lot more about her previous life throughout the series. But I think that being friends with somebody and knowing all of like their understanding like what makes them different and what makes them dangerous a little bit, I guess, and being friends with them in spite of that, or accepting that and altering the friendship around that, understanding that you're not necessarily going to be able to eat the same way.
Yeah, see, I hate that.
Yeah, me too.
I really hate the food part. You know how important food is to me.
Oh my gosh, when she made that like food in one of the episodes, I was like,
so I get that food just doesn't taste like anything anymore. The only flavor she can taste is spicy. That is like canonically, I guess, the thing. Why would you make a cinnamon bun?
Oh yeah, that was so much work to make during work. Like,
they are all allusions or references to something having to do with the crime.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I don't remember what a cinnamon bun had to do, but it was like, God, Tabasco and a cinnamon bun sounds the most disgusting thing.
It annoyed me that she made it during her lunch break, and I was like, you know how long it takes me to make like cinnamon buns from scratch? Forever. It's the longest thing it takes me to make.
Suspend your disbelief. Like if you have a pocket monster or a giant furry creature that can fly on a spinning top, like just suspend your disbelief, y'all.
If we're gonna pile on this eating thing too, I just want to pile on one more thing for that. So it bothered, like I want someone who can eat with me. That is something that I've already established in previous, that food is really important. Maybe I'm just wildly ignorant to how morgues work, but like there is this topless woman who is completely like being vivisected or whatever, dissected, I guess is the word that you use for not animals, but dissected. Her chest is completely open, and some dude just walks in and is like, "Hey, Liv, like, I knew you were a zombie, and I found, like, he's here to pick her up and, like, hit on her and stuff." And just like, God, that's a dead woman who... Can we have a little dignity where we're not making weird jokes when this woman's, like, chest cavity is completely open and exposed? That they're just like, haha, like, I'm glad that you're not scared away that I'm here, like, arm deep in this woman's chest cavity. And, like... Because otherwise, I love Veronica Mars, and it felt like they were trying to have that whippy, like, back and forth. Mm-hmm. Like, haha, I'm very smart, and I'm going to say something quick, and here's a sarcastic remark, zing. But also at the same time, like, God, somebody had to die for this.
I did really like her friendship with the other guy in the morgue. That was, I think...
The other guy in the morgue, I like.
Yeah, I
Roddy
really
Chakrabarty.
Using him as a template for how your friendship with Liv would be, I felt better.
Yeah, no, that's 100% like what I picture my friendship with Liv to be. It's very two-sided. It's not like especially like Veronica Mars. I think a lot of the issues that you could take from that show is the friendships up to a point are very one-sided. The friends are doing something for Veronica. You never see Veronica doing something for her friends. And with Liv, you see very much the two-sided nature of her friendships. And you see the holistic view, and you see like them get into arguments, and you see her being forgiving, and you also see her pissing people off and like begging for forgiveness and truly caring about her friendships and fighting for them. I think that as a human and a monster, she is able to balance those two things very well, in a way that is both great for her friends and her life as a whole, and it's also great for society given that she can solve murders.
What I think this kind of comes down to, though, is what are you looking for in a monster best friend? Because we all brought different kind of things to the table. I think me and Sarah brought monster first, and then best friend, where Casey brought best friend first, happens to be monster, right?
I think the result is that you pick the one that would be the best friend while being a monster.
Well, I'm just thinking back to the animated, like, if you could pick the best friend of the world. Like, what is the best friend you could possibly ever have in all of fiction? Being a monster might not even be a part of that, right? That's not... Why even consider any of the monsters? Because that's scary, or that's, you know... So do you want just another best friend who is a great best friend who happens to be a monster? Or do you want a monster first who is a good friend?
I went with what I went with, and I'm sticking with it.
maybe if we come to the end of an episode and none of us are budging, then we just make it a rule that we can't vote for our own.
I think that has to be it.
Because I don't think any of us,
I know.
I understand the criticisms about Totoro, but I still like him better than both of your guys' choice. Is that bad?
That is bad because Totoro's a stuffed animal.
I still think that, even if he wasn't appearing, he would still be, a good best friend. He'd still look out for, the granny. I'm sure he's still, looking out for her and, helping her crops grow.
But we have no way of knowing that. That's all you guessing.
Well, yeah, but that
doesn't make him not a good friend.
But we have no proof that he continues to be a best friend after.
He's right. I feel like the qualities he shows doesn't show him to be somebody that's just ignore you once you're grown up.
Fair.
I don't think that's fair.
We're not voting for ourselves. New rule, I guess.
I definitely don't think that's fair with Totoro.
Any last words? I'm not gonna lie. If I can't pick for Pikachu, I'm between both of you. I'm very split on both of you because I feel like you both have very good points.
I feel like we both have pros and cons, and I get it.
What do you think's the best thing about your friends? One trait that you're this is what makes my friend the best friend.
I think the, fantastic nature of the world of Totoro, of the forest, just all of it in general is just, the place that I want to be in right now. And just seeing them, sit on top of the tree, playing the ocarina, after they just, floated on up there, it just was super sweet.
If Totoro is your best friend, magic is real and magic is tangible.
Right,
and here
yes,
it is.
And that's the world I want to be in right now.
Okay. We're all in that kind of place where, God, this world sucks. Can I
I'm over
just go into this weird monster world where the thing I just have to worry about is getting more gym badges? I just really want all of the gym badges.
Yeah, maybe I'm over Pikachu because I already lived in that
man,
world when the recent Pokemon game came out.
Can I just have another Pokemon game? Yeah.
Mine is that the friend will always be there for me. And even if I die, she'll solve my murder because she could eat my brain.
Oh God, that's dark.
It's dark, but that episode I had you guys watch, she literally eats the brain of an old college friend and solves her murder and gets her justice.
Right, yeah.
That particular case cracks open an entire world.
Okay. Is that the linchpin episode of the whole season?
As we're talking about it, I'm realizing that yes, it is. And whoops. But yeah, so she is willing to go the extra mile and make herself uncomfortable to lean into what makes her a monster, which when you grow up a human and you become a monster, that has to be tough.
Yeah.
And she leans into that to help a friend. And every day she's doing it to help strangers. And she's putting herself on the line. And frankly, I want to be friends with somebody who is that brave and that giving.
All right, and I'm going to give my last hurrah for Pikachu. Pikachu, I guess, kind of similarly, Pikachu is just loyal to the end. Pikachu is always going to be by your side. Nothing is ever going to sway Pikachu from ever being your friend and being near you. Nothing is ever going to sway Pikachu. Pikachu in the movies, literally, the Ash and Pikachu die for each other multiple times. They literally die and other Pokemon gods have to, bring them back to life. That is how much they love each other. But it's for each other. It's not just necessarily for the world at large, but for your best friend, everyone else, it's you and me against the world, baby. We're going to be the champions of the world.
I have a question for both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Would your friend be cool with just kicking it?
Yes.
Because you both have friends that come from very lots going on in both worlds, whether it be gym badges all day, every day, or dead bodies all day, every day. I don't know.
Liv would love nothing more than to just kick it.
Can she have one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Does it get her drunk?
Yes.
Okay, just curious.
Before the first Pokemon movie, they had you know how Pixar has those little mini movies in the beginning? Mm-hmm. Pokemon had that when the first movie came out, where it was Pikachu's Vacation, and it's just Pikachu on a vacation.
Oh,
there's no humans, it's just Pokemon. It's either called Pokemon Vacation or Pikachu Vacation.
I do remember what you're talking about.
All right, I think what we should do is put our answers in the Slack channel, so that we're not
Slack
swayed.
channel?
Not the Slack channel, sorry, the chat here.
Zoom chat?
Yeah, the Zoom chat. So that way we're not swayed by seeing
and
who
then
voted.
we'll press enter at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, on your mark, get set.
I knew it. I absolutely knew it.
Oh no! We did the Magi's gift. We all gave the other one the thing we wanted most.
Oh no!
So guys, I think this is just a draw.
I am unsatisfied by this. Yeah, we put this all in type where no one else can see it. We each picked each other's picks. So, blah.
Wah, wah. So we're going to do a draw. We're calling it to a draw. And it's up to you guys to pick. All of you people out in the internet world.
I do think that makes it exciting. Thank you so much for listening. We'd love to hear who you would pick for your best monster friend and also who you would pick for our best monster friend. You need to tell us.
Yeah, we can't decide.
This isn't like, not just like being like, oh, hey, let us know. This is like, we need
gosh.
to know because we don't have a winner.
And tell me why it's Pikachu, because these two clowns over here don't know what's going on.
My boyfriend's going to fuck me
of
vote for
course.
Pikachu.
Just leave us a comment on Instagram, tweet directly at us. We have both of those at podcast_BFF. So please let us know so that we can know who won, because we are competitive beings and we must know to survive.
I didn't know how passionate I was about this until we started this episode.
Genuinely, this is probably the most competitive I have felt.
Oh, I can
in
tell.
decades, because I am not an overly competitive being.
I can tell.
And if you want to support that competitive nature coming out of me a little bit more, you can find us on, you can support us on our Patreon at patreon.com/bestfictionalfriendspodcast. You can also just head to bestfictionalfriendspodcast.com and click on donate.
Tell your friends, real or fictional, to check us out.
And if you could please rate and review us on iTunes, that is super helpful.
And we'll be here to help you rationalize your real life feelings for your fictional friends on Wednesday, October 14th. And also tune into that show because you and maybe us also will be finding out the winners of who our friends should have been in this one. So yeah, definitely tune into that.
For Best Fictional Friends, I'm Sarah.
I'm Casey. Vote for Liv.
And I'm Brittany. We'll see you next time. All friends welcome. Your best friend who will check under your bread. Yeah. Check under your bread. I'll see what kind of crust and toast and whatever's there, the jam.
Can you check to make sure there's not too much mayo on mine?
Yeah, I can do that. I might eat it. I don't know. I'm pretty partial to mayo.